We're going to start off, of course, looking back at last night's football. The Chelsea manager, Graeme spoke to the media following his side's 2-0 win over Dortmund last night. He was asked if the result feels like a turning point.
I think the supporters have been really fair with us. I mean, they care. Supporters care. So when the results aren't what you want, they feel pain. And so then they have to articulate that pain somehow, get rid of it. And whether that's at me or whoever it is, it's like, we know that when you're in this job, that's what happens. But all I can say is they've been really supportive. They really have. They've stuck with the team, they've helped us on the pitch, and rightly so. When we haven't performed, we haven't won, then they've let the feelings know, and that's fair enough.
Firstly, well done to him, because he's under so much pressure.
Yeah.
Well done to Chelsea as well. I thought they were great. I thought Dortmund were awful. And they might have been awful because Chelsea were great.
Do you know what's is fantastic? When you look at Graham Potter's record at Chelsea, and when he first started at Chelsea, he was getting so much joy playing the 3 at the back. I think his first couple of games he went with a 4, but he reverted to, I think, a 3-4-3. And when he was getting really positive results off playing the 3, then all of a sudden he changed to a 4. Which made no sense. And when you've got, and I was chatting to Andy Jacobs about this, actually, funny enough, when you've got that pair of fullbacks, they're up there, probably one of the best pairings in the Premier League.
Yeah, totally.
As in fullbacks.
Yeah,
you've got them, and they're your best form of attack. You've got to utilise them. And he goes back to the 3 yesterday, and look how much better they look.
Yeah, when you've got the 3 at the back, you're just giving them so much more scope to move forward. Yeah,
and they look brilliant yesterday. Yeah. But I mean, I know Jude Bellingham again was. He probably wasn't his best game, but he's built differently.
He's a monster,
the way he is slamming into tackles, because he tackled Reece James one time, and I thought, hold on, they're like international colleagues.
That was at the end, right?
At the end, and then he was having that beef with Chilwell. Yeah. Tells me that he's built differently. He is what you call a proper leader.
He had a chance to score a goal. He'd be disappointed that he didn't hit the target, and it wasn't his best game. But you're right, he still looks like a monster. I think it was in the Times. I can't remember. There's an article today saying he didn't look like the £100 million. You can have an off day, right?
Okay, that's one off day, but I've seen him 100 occasions have on days.
Yeah, I thought Cucurella had an on day for Chelsea.
Yeah, but a 3 looks better.
It looks better in a 3. Also, we should very quickly talk about, was it a penalty, yes or no? We both think it was.
I think it was, yeah.
Okay, I don't have a problem with encroachment.
No, do you know what? But the way they broke it down, because when you look at the encroachment, there's about 4 players, including Ben Chilwell, that go into the box. But it's quite evident that, because even Peter Walton, by the way, who sometimes his when he explains it, at first he goes, definitely no penalty, I can't see it given. Then they give it, and then he goes, yeah, I can see why they're giving the penalty. So just say that. You know what I mean? But just say that. But no,
that penalty?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one. I was looking at another one.
But when you look at, because it went back to the player who encroached and he cleared it, it made sense.
Yeah, totally. So you can have your view on that. And here's a question, right? I'll ask this question going into the break, and then I want to hear from so many Chelsea fans. I'll ask you, Bentley. You can answer, and they can. What's a good season for Chelsea right now? Okay, so let's just say they don't go on. Of course, winning the Champions League is the obvious answer. But let's say, what's the worst, best season that they can have, if that makes sense? What are you, as a Chelsea fan, thinking this is acceptable from here on in? What do you think would be, from here on in, acceptable for Chelsea fans to stay with Potter?
I think, and this is going to sound bonkers, and it'd be interesting to see what Chelsea fans think, but I think just a brand of football, getting into Europe, from where they are 10th, getting into Europe would be a good season. But then would Chelsea fans want Europa Conference League football, or would they rather do without? That's the question, because you think if they finish 7th...
Well, that's what Ed said. Square Ed, who works on our show, he said European football and a decent cup run in the Champions League. And I went, what's decent? And he said, well, if we get a Benfica next, I expect us to go through, but if we get a big end and we go out, fair enough.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But I think for Chelsea, if they were to get, say, 7th, or not even so much, they could hunt down that Europa League football. So I think they could quite easily get 5th or 6th, maybe. But I don't think they will. But that would be a good season. But it then comes down to the Chelsea fan. Do you want a Europa Conference? And that's not being a Chelsea fan. That's not really arrogant, but I understand it. I almost feel like Arsenal benefited a year out of Europe. Yeah, because look at them now; they look better.
I get that.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.